Hi, this is Maggie Ng, your host for Creative Inspirations, and today we have very special guest singer-songwriter David Hein here. So let's welcome David.
Ooh.
So David, please introduce yourself and kind of give us a brief thing about what you do.
I play music. My name's David Hein, and I'm a singer-songwriter in Toronto. I tour all over the place, and I play acoustic rock and roll tunes.
Cool. How long have you been singing and writing music?
Well, since I was a kid, I guess my mom's family has always sung like very folky beginnings, so their whole family sings, and I think a lot of the time she encouraged me to sing to keep me busy for long car trips and stuff like that. But I've been in bands since high school, and worked in a recording studio down in New York, and have really been pushing being a musician since coming back to Toronto.
Great. So at what point did you consider yourself a professional in the industry?
I'm still not sure I do. You know, I haven't quite been paid enough. But you know, getting paid is part of it. Really putting out a serious album with some serious musicians and a great producer on it helped a lot. Touring, I toured across North America. That makes you feel more professional. So it's a process. I'm getting there.
So what's the formal training and background that you have?
It's actually in art and writing a little bit, but I've taken some courses down in New York.
Yeah.
Mostly songwriting, a little bit of guitar, but other than that, I'm self-taught.
Oh wow! So what genre of music do you think best describes what you do?
You know, I'm always wary about calling, naming what genre I play. I generally call it sort of acoustic rock and roll, but it covers a lot of stuff. So, for example, I was playing out of Prince George a little while ago in BC, and the same show got reviewed by a couple different places, and I got compared to the Bare Naked Ladies, I got compared to the Trews, and I got compared to John Denver. So you know, there's some radically different stuff there that people are drawing from my music. But I think acoustic rock, I'm similar to Blue Rodeo, Bare Naked Ladies, Jack Johnson or John Mayer, people like that.
Okay. So who are your greatest musical influences?
I mean, some of the people that I just named, you know, going through a big Jack Johnson phase right now.
Yeah.
But really, the people who really inspire me to write other stuff are some of the musicians that I play with a lot. You know, if I play with someone who I think is better than me or writes better songs, that's what really pushes me. So there's local Toronto bands, Flicker Show, Boulay, Smoothie, or James Clark Institute. They do some great stuff, and I love playing with them. So that's what really gets me going. But I grew up on Canadian music, so I grew up on Blue Rodeo and Spirit of the West. Ron Sexsmith was an amazing singer-songwriter, so people like that.
So where do you get your inspiration from, like when you're writing your songs? Like, do you come up with the lyrics first and then you kind of write the music after, or vice versa? It's
kind of, I mean, it really depends how I write the song. If I'm sitting at home with my guitar, it tends to just flow out sort of together. Sometimes I'll come up with a guitar part and I look for words, or I just babble until I find words. I write a lot of songs walking home from work, so and I think I developed that in New York. There's a lot of people that harass you on the streets of New York, so if you're singing to yourself, they tend to leave you alone. So so I started singing to myself, and I write a lot of songs on the street, just walking home, looking like a crazy person.
Nice. So, which is your latest release? CD? Is it this North of Nowhere?
Yeah, I just put this out in the fall, and it was recorded by Juno Award-winning producer Joe Dunphy. It has Jan Arden's drummer, Ron Sexsmith's guitar player, and the bass player from Canadian Idol.
Oh, nice.
Some people like. But it's good. I'm really proud of the CD. It's I put a lot of money into it. I put a lot of time into it and energy, and I'm proud of it.
What's the significance of the title? Like, how did you come up with that?
Well, North of Nowhere was a band that I was in university, and the band sort of went their separate ways when university ended. But I still like the name, and to some degree, coming back to Toronto a couple years ago and building my career up again in a new city, it sort of felt like starting from nothing or moving in one direction. A lot of my songs are about traveling or about moving from one state to another, maybe from a relationship to another relationship or something like that. So I wanted something that had to do with direction and movement, but it also, to me, it sort of represents just moving in any direction from nowhere, just starting out and going.
So how have you evolved as a musician? I mean, you've been writing songs for quite a few years now. How do you feel like from when you first started to how you are now? I mean, how do you feel you've evolved from that?
When I first started singing, I had a British accent for some reason.
Okay.
I don't know where. It's
You
just
just
whenever.
thought it was really cool.
Yeah, I think maybe I thought it was cool subconsciously, but I'd start singing and this weird British accent would come out. So definitely, I've got rid of that. I think I'm a lot more open to different styles of music. Whatever comes out, I wanna try it. So this album covers a lot of rock, but it's also folk ballads, a little bit of country in there, and I'm a little bit less afraid to explore those areas. I'm a better guitar player. I'm a better singer. You get better every day.
So how about you give us some stories when you were on tour? Anything interesting happen or? Yeah,
I had a really interesting tour. A lot of stuff happened. My favorite story is in South Dakota, which is sort of where I'm from originally. I was couch surfing across the states, and couch surfing is this website where you basically send an email out to a bunch of people in South Dakota and say, I'm a touring musician, can I stay with you there? So I was staying at this guy's house, and he left for work in the morning, and I woke up to gunfire. And I'm out in the middle of nowhere. It's a farmhouse.
Yeah.
And I go upstairs, and I don't want to go outside. I've lived in New York. You don't go outside when there's gunfire.
Yeah.
So, but I eventually went out to see what was happening, and they were firing guns. They were doing hunting practice, right? So they had all their rifles out and pistols, and I'm a city kid. I've never done this before, so they invited me over, and they offered to let me fire the gun. So I shot an AK-47 and a Glock pistol, and it was the weirdest way I have ever woken up. It was very strange. In Thunder Bay, I shared a room with an iguana that was about this big. Her name was Susan, and she licked me.
Nice.
And,
more than just licked you.
She liked me a lot, but she stayed on her side of the room. She was a good roommate.
Yeah.
I got some good fans along the road. In Moose Jaw, these 7 drunken guys who work on the train, the railways, they all got in. They had come in for a drink, and they loved my stuff, and they started singing along. They were singing along to all these songs. They didn't know the songs, but they were singing along to them anyway. And then later, one of them showed up in Edmonton, and another person showed up in Vancouver. So they sort of followed me along on the rail line. So it was cool.
If you could collaborate with another musician, whether he's alive or deceased, who would it be and why? What's your most embarrassing moment, either performing or maybe something really weird that a fan did, like did they jump on stage or?
I was playing. We did a show at Healy's here in Toronto, and it was a pretty good show. We were fine. I was playing with my band, and near the end of the set, these I think 4 girls, incredibly drunk, started dancing right in front of us, and the entire time they kept making little like heart shapes at me, and
blowing kisses at
blowing
you.
kisses, yeah, exactly, and like mouthing. Yeah. And this is rare for me, so it totally threw me off playing. And then afterwards, they destroyed my mailing list. I've got a book that I pass around, and it's just hearts everywhere, their phone number written on it. They just massacred the thing, and then they wanted hugs after. It was very strange. It was after New Year's. We'd all celebrated, and the band was just playing and having fun. And some sort of softcore porn show came on, and suddenly the entire band just stopped what we were doing, and the entire audience was like, "What's going on?" And we were just like mesmerized by what was happening.
What are some of your biggest struggles so far? I mean, like being a musician, it's a really tough industry, you know.
It's hard to make a living doing this. You know, every day you try to sell as many CDs as you can.
Yeah.
You know, I work with friends, but without a label, without support behind you, you're doing all of your website stuff, you're booking all of your own tours, you're setting up everything. I do all of my graphic design, so it's a lot of work. And I think that's one of the challenges. My wife is an actress, so she works late at night, and I work late at night, so we hang out at 3 in the morning.
So I guess you have to work like another job.
So I work during the day as a graphic designer and writer, and it actually it helps a fair bit. You know, my graphic design skills have certainly amped up by working there, and I design my album cover, I design my posters, and I save a lot of money then.
So, how about you list some of the awards or accomplishments or some of the biggest things that you've achieved so far in your career?
The band was in a big battle of the bands called Emergenza, which to some degree is a who can bring the biggest audience out thing, but it was actually pretty good. We made it to the Canadian finals and played for 1,600 people, so that was a nice high point.
Yeah.
I've won the International House Songwriting Award. I've been a finalist in a bunch of other ones, Chart Magazine's Indie Startup Award, and things like that. I'm really proud this year. I'm playing in some festivals, some music festivals, for the first time this summer, and that's a big accomplishment for me, getting on those stages. So I'll be playing out in Manitoba in July for the Brandon Folk Festival, and then
Got featured in the magazine.
yeah, recently I was in Canadian Business Magazine. Who knew? But I'm in an article on how to take time off work, which everyone, it's funny, everyone at work is really excited about it. They're like, wow, you're in Canadian Business Magazine. And that's what they're excited about, but I also think it's kind of ironic that it's about getting out of work.
Yeah.
They're very excited about it.
Awesome. So what do you hope to achieve in the near future?
I got a lot of plans. We're going to start doing some videos. I'm doing a chapters tour, so I'll be playing at chapters all around Toronto and all around Ontario.
Let's take a look at your website, the one that you designed.
What else can I show you? There's a blog on here, which has sort of basically every show I do. There's a story behind it, so anyone who comes out gets a paragraph written about them. There's shows, there's information about me, biographies. You can buy my music, you can listen to my songs for free. There's a couple albums up there. There's some photos that you can take a look at.
Yeah. David also has a MySpace site, so it's myspace.com/davidhein. So you can also get a sample of some of his music, and you can write to him. He also has a blog on there as well.
Yeah. So, and if you're on MySpace, add me as a friend. We'll hang out.
Yes. With your CD, I mean, can you only get it through your website, or is it available anywhere else?
It's available all over the place. It's on my website, which is probably the cheapest way to get it. The best way to get it for me, anyway. It's available on IndiePool, iTunes, Pure Tracks, basically any, if you want to download it to your iPod, you can download it at almost any site. You can order it through HMV, and it'll be available at Chapters through consignment while I'm playing there. So.
Oh, nice. Be sure to check out David Hein at some of his upcoming performances. So we do have a surprise from him because he is going to perform live for us.
So the song is called 17. This is off the album. This is about when I was 17 years old, a couple of years ago. And I met this beautiful 28-year-old woman who totally knew what she wanted from a relationship and from me, and I had no idea what I wanted. But this is in praise of older women. Nodded my head and smiled, and all the while she was setting scenes, her wild life in New Orleans, my wild life in Saskatoon. Didn't compare it all to her. She's 28, got her life ahead. I'm 17, as good as dead. That we should get a room. Said that it doesn't matter. In fact, it's a fact that Jackson's coming too. And I got a crazy idea, and it's so crazy it just might work. She's 28, got her life ahead. I'm 17, as good as dead. So this next song is called My Eyes Wide. It's also off the album. It's probably my most Blue Rodeo-esque tune. And it was written, I actually just bought a house, and there's a whole bunch of chaos that goes on with buying a house. And when we moved into our last place, we were setting up and unpacking, and we needed to get out of there. We were just going crazy, so we left and went outside on the porch, and we looked down the street,
and we realized there was this this music festival going on all up and down the street, and we hadn't heard about it. And so we went out at night and we just wandered along the street, and it was just this this beautiful night, and it just reminded me not to close myself off. Took the night off, looked around and left this mess behind. Locked the door and got it off our minds. You wore that necklace like I hadn't seen you wear in years. It looked like we were 20 and it stole from me. And I don't know why I've been looking at this life with eyes that let me down, glazed with sorrows I can't drown. Now somewhere up above that neon pizza parlor sign, you stealing stars out of the sky. I made myself a promise that I'm never going back. Well, maybe just for one more night goodbye. 'Cause I don't know why I've been looking at this life with eyes that let me down, glazed with sorrows I can't drown. And I don't know when we're gonna feel this way again. I guess that I keep my eyes wide and hope they never close again. Now I'm staring at you, kinda wonder what was always on your mind. And you staring upwards, and I think that you were waiting for a sign. But I don't know why I've been looking at this life with eyes that let me down, glazed with sorrows I can't drown. And I don't know when we're gonna fall in love again. I guess that I keep my eyes wide and hope they never close again. Never close again.
Yay!
Thank you.
That was awesome, David. Thank you
you.
so much for coming on the show. Do you have any
My
last
pleasure.
words for the audience?
Buy my CD, support independent music. Buy this CD on that website with your money.
Yeah, so be sure to check him out if you like what you heard. www.davidhein.net, or you can check him out on www.myspace.com/davidhein. And this is Maggie Ng for Toronto TV Live, Creative Inspiration. Hope to see you next week. See you!